Today we're diving into one of the most wild and enduring stories ever told. A story about a man who, if you believe the accounts, just never died.
I mean, that's the big one, isn't it? It's the one thing we all think is inevitable. But what if there was a loophole? What if someone actually found a way out?
And this isn't some new age idea or a sci-fi plot. No, this comes from an ancient sacred text, and it makes a claim that is just staggering. That one man was taken from this world without ever having to die. His name was Elijah.
Now, to really wrap our heads around this mystery, we have to do something a little weird. We have to start at the end. Or, well, what should have been the end. This is the moment that cemented his legend forever. Okay, just try to picture this. You've got two guys, Elijah and his apprentice, just walking and talking. And then, out of absolutely nowhere, the sky basically cracks open. This isn't a peaceful, gentle exit. We're talking about a fiery, celestial vehicle appearing in a storm of divine power.
And it wasn't just a flash of light. It was a whole sequence of events. First, he parts the Jordan River with his cloak, a huge display of power, kind of an echo of what Moses did generations before. Then, the fiery chariot shows up, not to give him a ride, but to separate him from his apprentice, Elisha. It's like a divine barrier. And finally, he's taken up, get this, not by the chariot, but by a whirlwind, just a raw force of nature.
And after all that fire and wind? Nothing, just silence. His apprentice is left standing there with an empty cloak. There's no body to bury, no grave to visit. It's that complete and total disappearance that really fuels this whole mystery.
So, who was this guy who got such a spectacular send-off? He wasn't a king, he wasn't a warrior in the typical sense, he was a prophet. And to get why he was so important, you have to understand the incredibly tense and dangerous time he lived in.
Now, being a prophet back then wasn't about having a crystal ball. It was about being God's spokesperson. Your job was to speak truth to power, even when, especially when, that power could have you killed. You were the conscience of the nation, a spiritual frontline soldier.
And Elijah's world was in total chaos. The kingdom was having a full-blown identity crisis. The powerful Queen Jezebel was pushing the worship of a pagan god called Baal, and a lot of people were going along with it. So Elijah, he didn't just write a few angry letters, he walked right up to the king and queen and challenged them publicly. These were high-stakes, dramatic showdowns for the soul of the nation.
You see, an exit like a chariot of fire doesn't really end a story. It just kicks off a whole new one. Elijah's departure left a huge hole, but it also created this powerful, enduring legacy that has rippled through thousands of years of history.
And here's a really crucial part of the story. It wasn't a secret. Someone saw it happen. His hand-picked successor, Elisha, was right there. As Elijah was taken up, his cloak, his mantle, fell to the ground. Elisha picking up that mantle, that was everything. It was a symbolic passing of the torch, a sign that the mission, the spirit, the power, it was all going to continue.
And from there, his legacy just exploded way beyond his own time and people. In Judaism, there's a belief that he'll return to announce the arrival of the Messiah. In Christianity, he famously appears alongside Moses during the transfiguration of Jesus. And in Islam, he's honored as a major prophet in the Quran. I mean, think about that. He is a key, revered figure in 3 of the world's biggest religions.
So, that brings us back to the core question. Why this story? Why does the idea of the chariot of fire still capture our imagination after all these centuries? What's the secret?
Well, there are a few ways to look at it. For many believers, it's a literal, historical event, an absolute miracle that proves God's power over everything, including death itself. For others, it's a powerful metaphor. Maybe it's about reaching such a high level of spiritual enlightenment that you just transcend the physical world. And then there's the symbolic view, that the real point of the story is to show that the divine mission is unstoppable, that it passes seamlessly from one generation to the next. When you boil it all down, maybe the story of the man who never died isn't just about cheating a physical end. Maybe it's really about something we all think about. Living a life with so much meaning, so much impact, that your spirit, your ideas, and your story, they become immortal. They never really die at all. Something to think about, right?